Following Cyclone Gabriel last year, KVH took on the role of preparing for emergencies events such as extreme weather events, earthquakes and volcanic eruptions where there is significant impact to growers and their orchards. This area of work uses the same skill sets KVH has for biosecurity readiness and response, but instead looks at different types of emergencies. To date, KVH has developed an emergency response management framework outlining the types of emergencies in scope, triggers for responding to emergencies and how operational and governance activities will be undertaken. To prepare the industry for another extreme weather event, a response plan has been developed and industry training has commenced with staff involved from KVH, NZ, KGI, Zespri and post-harvest organisations. Today, the team before you from across the industry are going to give you an example of the different activities that would be undertaken at the beginning of an extreme weather event. You've probably noticed that they're wearing different coloured vests, which represents the different functional areas of the Coordinated Incident Management System, CIMS, which is a system of best practice that are used to coordinate responses in New Zealand. By following CIMS, the kiwifruit industry will be able to align with other response operations being undertaken by local civil defence or MPI, who also use CIMS. I'll ask each of the panel members to introduce themselves in their everyday roles, which function they're representing today, and how their function contributes to the response to support the industry when an extreme weather event occurs. I'll kick off with Leanne. Leanne, please introduce your everyday role, the role you're demonstrating today, and what your key activities are at the beginning of an emergency response.
Thanks, Mike. Kia ora koutou, ko Leanne Stewart Tokoingoa, and I'm the Chief Executive of Kiwifruit Vine Health. Today I'm demonstrating the controller role, which coordinates the overall response through leading the incident management team, which we have here, who all play a part in undertaking activities to achieve the response objectives. So the incident management team today consists of 7 functions, but there can be additional functions added. So we've got intelligence, planning, operations, safety, welfare, safety, they're in the wrong order, but that's all right. Safety, PIM, welfare and logistics. So in general, my controller role sits between response governance, which in our case is industry leadership, and the incident management team, with overall responsibility for managing activities within the response. So my key activities in an extreme weather event are to write a response intent statement, so the incident management team all work in the same direction. I need to have a high level of situational awareness to know what's going on. I approve action plans, I attend governance meetings, I seek guidance from Māori kiwifruit growers incorporated to make sure that we are appropriately considering cultural values. I support the incident management team leaders and make sure that decisions align with our response objectives. If the response is particularly complex, I might stand up a technical advisory group as well at TAG, and that will help inform decision-making processes. So it's worth noting that in a kiwifruit industry ERM response, we're likely going to have 2 controllers, one on the ground in the region that's impacted to support growers, and then one back at headquarters in the Bay of Plenty. The 2 controllers will work closely together to make sure we've got effective coordination. So at the beginning of any response, it can feel quite chaotic as systems and processes get up and running, but by following the CIMS system, we're using really good practices so that we can get into our battle rhythm quickly. Thanks.
Thank you, Leanne. Cam, same question. Please introduce your everyday role, the role you're demonstrating today, and what your key activities are at the beginning of an emergency response.
Good afternoon, I'm Cam Clayton, Technical and Innovation Manager at DMS, and have the privilege of being Associate Director of KVH. I am demonstrating the intelligence role in an emergency response. First, I'd like to say that all the functions are equally important, but we can all agree that intelligence is probably the most important. So what am I doing? I am providing situational awareness. I'm looking to see what's going on the ground, where it's happening, how severe is it, who is being impacted, where are they being impacted, and how severely are they being impacted. I'm feeding this through through situational awareness reports through to the controller. I'm empowering her to make timely and informed, rapid decisions. I'm also feeding it through to the other functional groups so that it helps them form their core roles and helps them outwork those. Then I'm getting out my crystal ball. I'm looking at how is this scenario going to play out? And I'm doing that through two ways. One, I'm looking back in time. I'm looking at other events that have happened previously. What can we glean from those? What can we learn? How did they play out, and how might that impact how we respond in this situation? And the second way is that I'm turning to subject matter experts, people who know the lay of the land, who know, for example, how these waterways work, how they respond in a flood. I'm talking to technical experts as well. And together we're putting together scenarios of what could happen, where it might happen, the timeline of how that might happen, and who might be affected in what way, and therefore what might we need to be considering in our response planning process. What does the controller need to know?
Thank you, Cam. Amy, please introduce your everyday role, the role you're demonstrating today, and what your key activities are at the beginning of emergency response, including you're the most important one if you wish.
Hi, my name's Amy Barker-Gilbert. I am the Technical and Communications Manager at Hume Pack and Cool. Cam, I was going to say you were quite intelligent, but you already gave yourself a pat on the back, so I'll save it. So today I'm demonstrating the planning function. The planning function uses a structured system which involves the incident management team. So all leads have the opportunity to provide input into the plans to avoid anything being missed. While you might think in an emergency response you just want to jump in, start helping out, get things done, it's worth the time to just take a moment, develop a plan, and make sure that the response is heading in the right direction for the industry. Although the action plan for an extreme weather event has already been developed, it is necessary to review it at the time just because each situation is different that we deal with. So this involves bringing the function leads together to identify the priorities and then allocate out the tasks. I always ensure that I've got the most up-to-date controllers' intent statement and their response objectives. For our industry, it's likely that we'll develop plans every couple of days.
Thank you, Amy. Sue, again, introduce your role, the role you're demonstrating today, and what your key activities are at the beginning of the emergency response.
Hi, so I'm Sue Grinevald. I'm the Grower Relations Manager at Zespri for the red variety, and today I'm going to be demonstrating operations. Now, these guys talk a lot, but I actually do all the work on the ground. So just so you know, I am the most important person. So I'm responsible for the day-to-day coordination of the ground response activities as per the action plan. This could include things like making sure we've got enough volunteers, collaborating with the other functions to support and implement their tasks, especially the welfare function, because we're the people on the ground, so we need to make sure those growers are well looked after. One of the key tools ops would do during a response is to actually implement something like a Facebook page or even a WhatsApp group so that the growers have clear communication to us so we know what their needs are on the ground. You know, with Cyclone Gabrielle, there was a lot of things that were happening really quickly and we had clear communication with those growers. That's the operations.
Thank you. Mike, same again, introduce your role you're demonstrating today, and your key activities at the beginning.
Yeah, cool. My name is Mike Murphy and I head up the communications and strategic projects at NZKGI. So I'm working with all these really smart and important people in the welfare role. Our job is really to make sure that we have coordinated, efficient and appropriate welfare services provided to impacted growers. So the first thing is really finding out who those impacted growers are using our team here and then providing the right services, and we do that by utilising other industry stakeholders to help us provide those services. So pretty straightforward. Yep.
Thank you very much. Lisa, introduce your role, the role you're demonstrating today, and what your key activities are at the beginning of the response.
Thanks. I'm Lisa Gibbison, the Principal Advisor for Communications at KVH, and today I am demonstrating the role of the Lead of Public Information Management, or PIM as we're more commonly known. And we're definitely the most important function because we are making sure everything that everybody says as a group or as an individual is what we want to be saying as a response. So my team and I will be making sure that the information that we're conveying about our activities, about what our goals might be, about the things we want other people to do for us are all really clear, concise, up to date, all in one voice, and everybody saying the same thing. We particularly at the start will be activating our comms group to make sure that everybody who needs to be involved is involved, and everybody has the opportunity to use their network of relationships to share all of our information via certain channels and whatever resources it is that we might be using in those particular circumstances. We'll also be managing media, so we'll be proactively reaching out to media in some cases, and in others that will be a reactive response. And we'll be making sure that we're looking ahead and preparing for anything that might come our way in terms of media, ministers and government as well. Tomorrow we'll do a lot of work on sort of horizon scanning and thinking about some of those things that might affect the type of inquiries and requests that we get from different audiences. And we'll be working on not only on that immediately, but into the medium and longer term as well.
Thank you, Lisa. Chris, you'll notice that I mixed it up a bit because, like an incident, not everything happens in a sequential order. Could you introduce yourself, the role you're demonstrating today, and what your key activities are at the beginning of the response?
Certainly. So my name's Chris. I'm the Risk and Assurance Manager at Zespri, and today I'm representing the safety role. For safety, the key part of my role is to focus on the identification of hazards and to make sure that I'm communicating those hazards to those in the field. So those response teams or those growers who are out there responding to the event. In terms of at the beginning of the response, I'll complete a full assessment of all of those hazards and make sure that the response teams are aware of those and make sure that we've got appropriate mitigations in place to deal with those. I'll also be in continuous conversation with everybody else across the teams to get feedback in terms of what they're seeing on the ground and making sure that's a continuous loop of understanding the hazards that are out there and continuing to put mitigations in place. I should also note though, it is agreed that we will have people across a number of different organisations, so post-harvest, Zespri, growers, KVH. The safety and well-being of those people is still the ultimate responsibility of those organisations, but obviously, a key part of my role is to really assist with that on the ground and make sure that they are safe and well-being.
Thank you. And last but not least, Jackie, please introduce your everyday role, the role you're demonstrating today, and what your key activities are at the beginning of the response.
I'm Jackie Craig. I'm the Office Manager for Kiwifruit Vine Health. Today I'm demonstrating the logistics role, which provides and tracks all resources used to support response activities, specifically making sure other functions have what they need to carry out their tasks. During the beginning of a kiwifruit industry response, I'll be very busy setting up coordination centres, setting up comms if they're down, for example Starlink, equipping the centres with the necessary resources, preparing rosters and monitoring staffing needs, tracking expenditure and inducting new staff as they arrive into the response centres. Logistics is a function that supports all others by making sure they have what they need to keep the activities going.
Thank you very much. Thank to all the panel. Again, in preparation for tomorrow, I think that was an extremely good run through in terms of the roles and the responsibilities through it. And again, from a KVH and a partnership wide, I know Angus and Andrew are here today and Angus is here tomorrow, that engagement with ourselves or whoever's leading a response. And again, from my own personal experience of sort of being the controller in the North region after Cyclone Gabriel, the communication with industry as well as local government and local knowledge is absolutely vital. So thank you all very much. Thank you.